Warning, Hebrews Toys Reviews is not intended for children. It is for adult collectors and the people over the age of 18.
Everybody, Hebrew77 here, and welcome to yet a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle review as we continue Turtle Month. And today's review, we'll be reviewing the bad guys. That's right, we're done with all the good guys for right now, although there is a few side characters that we'll be covering later on in the month. But for right now, we're going to go on to the bad guys. And we can't start the bad guys without the head bad guy of what I would consider one of the most evilest villains since Skeletor. Enter the Shredder. But before we get to the Shredder review, here's a little brief history on why this character is so popular.
Shredder, aka Oroku Saki. Let me say that name again, Oroku Saki, who was voiced by Fresh Prince's Uncle Phil in the cartoon, was solely responsible for creating the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oroku Saki was kicked out of his the dojo supposedly when he got caught doing some not so cool stuff to his sensei's whatever. I forget exactly how the story goes. Hey, give me some slack. It's been a while here. I'm doing this off the cuff. But you know how the story goes. It's kind of like Storm Shadow versus Snake Eyes, Batman versus the Black Ninja, so forth and so on. Him and Amato Yoshi, they didn't get along. They became the worst of enemies. Then years later, when Oroku Saki had this mutagen stuff created in the lab or whatever, he tossed it down the sewer knowing Amato Yoshi was down there somehow. I don't know. After Amato Yoshi fled to America, the ooze got over Amato Yoshi and then the turtles, and thus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was born. And Shredder became the most hated enemy of Amato Yoshi. And then, of course, when he came across the turtles, he swore to turn them someday into turtle soup. Really, this is like the baddest of the bad guys when it comes to 80s villains. You can't get any better or worse than the Shredder.
Alright, now that we're done with that history, let's take a look at Shredder himself. On with the review! We'll point out the fact that this is the only Shredder figure that I have that's still in the package. Let's shine a little light on the subject. There we go. You can see he's still in the package here, and he comes with all of his accessories, which includes a long sword, a dagger of some kind, one of those, this weapon here, some Chinese throwing stars, and this pointy dagger thingy. And that's really all the Shredder ever came with. And since we do have the package, this is one of the only known packages that I have in existence. We'll turn it around here. And you can see a brief history here on the back, sort of like a comic book strip as it plays out. The evolution of the turtles, a boy's bow of pet turtles. This is boy, when really Amato Yoshi was a full-grown man. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It says the boy's pet turtles fell down the sewer. And then, of course, let me zoom in here. There we go. Of course, you see Yamato Yoshi. He's holding a rat. Turtles fall down the sewer. And here is Shredder, as I pointed out in the history of Shredder, actually pouring the mutagen down the drain. Of course, we see here the turtles get slimed with this stuff. And then over here in the next panel, we see the turtles becoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we see Yamato Yoshi becoming Splinter. And the rest is history, as we see our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as they look like in the comic book. And we got, it says, original 1988 classic collection turtle figures. And there's the Shredder, the one who we're talking about now. We will eventually talk about the Party Wagon, but that won't be until maybe the end of the month when we talk about vehicles and play sets. Now, let's set the package aside and talk about Shredder out of the package. This is not the this is not the collection series Shredder. This is the actual vintage 1988 Shredder, as I'll show you. I think it's on his bum. Let's zoom in here. Let's see. Yes, 1988. I don't know if you can see that or not. Zoom in more. Oh, it's blurry now. 1988 Playmates. You can see there. Almost looks like 1983, but it's not. Playmates down there at the bottom. Playmates Toys. Mirage Studios. That's the studios that produced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he stamped it with an A. So yes, this is an original Shredder. So let's take a look and examine Shredder. You might, of course, I need to make the camera just a little bit higher. That's slightly better. So you see Shredder here. I need to make the camera slightly higher. Hold on. There we go. So you see Shredder here has his, he's got a mask. It's a blue helmet. And then he's got what might be considered a cloth mask, but it is a metal mask in all other variations. It's supposed to be a metal mask, but you can see it's purple and it clearly looks like material. We go on down here, we see the blades on his shoulder, shoulder blades, if you will. He has no shirt on for whatever reason. They wanted to make all these guys shirtless. And then you go down the arm, you can see the other set of blades that are attached to his forearm. And if you look, you can see the wrapping, like purple wrapping, almost of a fighter. In this case, I guess a ninja. And as it wraps around his hand, almost has that Macho Man Randy Savage type hand wrapping. Ooh yeah, snap into a Slim Jim. And then you got a belt which has no initials on it, much like Splinter when we did our Splinter review. And just like when we did our Splinter review, Splinter, who came with a robe, the Shredder comes with this cape, which is supposed to, I guess, somewhat cover all of this up as well. And then you go beyond the cloth and you see his legs, which there's a lot of details really put into these legs. You can see he's got the purple tights over the black tights. As you go down here, you can see the middle shredding devices there onto his knees, almost like for knee pads. You could tell this guy means business right away, as he's got the wrappings around his legs. I guess they're supposed to be purple boots, but they look like they've got purple boots with wrappings around them. And I gotta say, overall, great figure. I really liked this figure as a kid, and I'm really digging this figure right now. And of course, as you saw in the package, Shredder comes with one of these doohickeys and a katana blade, exactly like Leonardo's katana blade. We'll put that in his hand here. This weapon, or any weapon you put in his hand, does not stay in his hand for very long, because for some reason they closed off. I'm going to zoom in on this. They closed off part of his hand, so just with a few, if he was in a feud or a fight with the turtles, well, the blade would just knock out of his hands like so, very easily. He's got some of the same articulation, except he can't really move his arms full way around, because they're kind of hindered because of the metal, or well, not metal, but the spikes on his shoulder. His shoulder blades kind of inhibit him from sort of doing any kind of articulation. And even though his hand does move all the way around, this hand is shorter because you want that like punching action or whatever for the sword. And this is the worst figure to try to get to stand. You try to get him to stand and he leans because he's in some sort of like action pose, as opposed to just a regular stance. His legs are bowed out and they're bent in such a manner, and even the feet are sort of bent upwards, like he's doing like an action, like wah, you know, almost impossible to stand. And this is another reason why I wish they would have come up with stands for these guys. Let's see if I can get him to stand up. No. He's always going to lean to the right, as you can see. So, and all, that really inhibits sort of like the play. Like if you're a kid and you're playing with this guy, it inhibits sort of like your... How the heck do you play with him? The only way you play with him if he's sitting down or sitting on the throne, or maybe, you know, if you're holding him up during the entire fight, then that's fine. Otherwise, he's got to be leaned against the wall constantly. Like he's always leaning like, oh, I have no time for this fight. I'll let my foot soldiers, Beat Bop and Rocksteady, do all the work. I mean, no wonder Crane is always mad at him. This guy's constantly leaning or sitting on the job. So in all seriousness, I really wish they would have done a better design on this figure. That would be probably my only complaint, although the worst of the worst complaint, this guy, of all the action figure genres, has got to be the worst for standing up. But anyway, that pretty much concludes my review on the Shredder. And, you know, like I said, overall, a pretty good figure. I highly recommend him. He's definitely got to be a part of your turtle collection. And if you want a villain, you can't get any better than the Shredder. And I also heard that he makes Parmesan cheese like nobody's business. Like he could just put it on the side of his arm here and just, you know, 90 miles per hour, and next thing you know, your spaghetti is topped with cheese. He would have been great working at the Olive Garden, I'm just saying. Well, that concludes today's Tuesday event of Turtle Month. And tomorrow is Wednesday, when we continue Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Month with another Villainous Reviews. I was going to review these guys as one at a time, and I still might do that. But tomorrow's review will be Beat Bop and Rocksteady. Or maybe just Beat Bop. I don't know, but I do know this. This has been one heck of a review that I did on the Shredder. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, remember, knowing isn't just half the battle, it's the whole damn war. Until next time, this is Hebrew 77. See you then.